Hello, we are here at Hamacon 9, and I am happy to be joined by Mr. Creepypasta. Do I go with Creepy? Do I go with Mr. Pasta?
You can call me Spike. A lot of my friends call me Spike. You can call me MCP. A lot of people who know me call me that also. Or you can go like the proper Mr. Creepypasta if you really want to go that whole route. It's up to you, man.
Yeah. I like MCP because that very much sounds like a rap nickname, like a 90s rap nickname.
Yeah, just call me DMX. I'm cool with that.
Oh, damn it. Now you got me thinking about the there's a whole cottage industry on YouTube of DMX mashups with various theme songs.
Oh, I have not seen that. Various theme songs. I know, like with the classical music.
I'll have to play it for you later.
Yeah.
But my favorite is DMX X Gonna Give It To You mashed up with the Inspector Gadget theme song.
That sounds
It's
wonderful.
So good.
One I've always heard, and like me and my wife play it in cars when like we go over to like conventions and stuff, is DMX X Gonna Give It To You. It was X Gonna Give It To You, but it's mixed with 1,000 words. Was it 1,000 words? The 1,000 Miles. 1,000 Miles,
holy
yes.
Shit.
Getting mixed with like Final Fantasy X. But no, 1,000 Miles. It's like so like piano soft and like hard rap going on. It's so good. I love it.
Like Vanessa Carlton DMX. Okay, I never would have thought to do that one. Oh, fuck. Anyway, we're off to a great fucking start. So what have you been working on lately?
I've been working on. I've got a lot of things I've been working on actually. It's like usually like the main thing I do is YouTube. So like everybody who's listening is not sure what a Mr. Creepypasta is. What I do is I tell scary stories on YouTube. So I always have like new stories and things like that, new series that I'm working on. A lot of them are comedy horror. Most of them are like straight spooky horror. But we're doing other things too. Like we're starting new comic books that we've been working on lately, publishing new comic books. I work with this guy, Vincent Venacava. He's a really cool guy. And we've been working on projects for years together. So we've been working on comics. We were working on a card game, cowboy card game. That's going to be coming out relatively soon, I hope. It's just finished up. I know, like that. I see you like giving me an eye.
I'm just
like cowboys.
Yeah. What are we doing in a cowboy?
I'll tell you about Gold Rush in a sec. I'll tell you about Gold Rush.
Yeah, let's.
Gold Rush was my attempt to do something that's not horror, because I felt like I kind of boxed myself in for the past 7 years doing this.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna do something that's not horror. I want to make a card game. I make board games and stuff like that in my free time anyway. So I was like, I'm gonna make a card game. It's not gonna be related to horror or anything. It's just gonna be cowboys. A bunch of guys would be around a table together where you can like play cards together and bluff with each other and be able to shoot each other, because that's cowboys, what you want to do. And I had given it to Vincent when I was going through the rules, and I was like, can you add a little bit of flavor to this? I want to do like a short like story anecdote that kind of goes along with this town, and then if you could kind of just throw something in there, it could fit in the top of the rules, give somebody something interesting and a little bit of flavor. He goes, yeah, sure. And he gives me something back after a couple of days, and it's of the story about the saloon, and all this new guy shows up in the saloon and talks about this little girl on the outside who's like walking along, and everybody in the saloon tells him, no, you can't go talk to that little girl. And he's like, why? It's just a little girl. Why is everybody here afraid of a little girl? And well, he goes out and speaks to the little girl, and her head kind of opens up into this flower, and this beam of light shows on the outside of the saloon, and then everybody in the saloon goes back to what they were doing before. And I was like, that was absolutely not related to what I had asked you to do. However, I really like that, and I already had all the characters that I talked about in like the story are all in the card game already, and I'm like, okay, I guess we're working on a horror game now. Yeah. So it is still related. It's still related to horror, but it's a card game that I come out with, and the rules are still unrelated to horror. But now the town of Gold Rush is not just a cowboy town. It's a cowboy town that sometimes is there and sometimes isn't. And strange things happen in the town.
So it's like Cowboy Ravenloft?
Yes, actually, it's Cowboy Ravenloft. Sometimes the dead rise. It just happens. It's okay.
I love the idea of being, somebody in that town, bunch of zombies get out of the ground here, just like, oh, it's Tuesday, huh?
Yeah, it's one of those things like, okay, load up your guns, gotta go take care of this real quick before we go to work. It's fine. It's cool. It's casual. Yeah. And like, there's a guy out there on the edge of town. He he makes his own moonshine, which is the strongest stuff and can sometimes raise the dead. Sometimes it gives people superhuman powers, which helps out in farms. It's fine. You just drink it at your own risk.
I mean, why not?
He doesn't. He's been doing it for years.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
So, what made you first take an interest in horror?
Oh, dude. I don't know. I'm gonna be the best interview you've had. That's the answer. Yeah.
All right.
Fantastic. My mom, when I was a kid, my mom never wanted me to watch horror films. I don't know. Like, did your mom ever like be overprotective with you? Like, you can't do certain things. You don't read comic books. Comic books are the devil.
I'll give you the short answer
Okay.
to that. There's a really long answer to this. The short answer is yes.
Okay.
My dad was a preacher.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
So just in horror in general, you were like, you can't.
Everything was the devil.
Everything was the devil. Okay.
I mean, it really was like living with the Waterboy's mom.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's like, foosball's the devil. Video games are the devil. Any music that I didn't make is the devil.
Oh man, I can see like you cut loose as soon as you were like, yeah, I can go dance with the devil and playing video games till the sun comes up.
Yeah,
like, as soon as you get out. But no, my mom was a little bit the same way. My mom's Chinese. My mom grew up in Taiwan, and the way she used to always tell me like, she would watch Chinese movies whenever they come out in movie theaters there. But like in America, we have a rating system. People die. That's a PG-13 movie. There's a lot of blood and sex and stuff like that. It's an R-rated movie. In Taiwan, they didn't do that. When a movie came out, it was a movie. If you want to go watch the movie, you can go watch the movie. The end. So when she was younger, she went to go watch all these, samurai killing movies where there'd be people with swords and knives, they'd stab people die and stuff like that all the time. It used to scare her. So when I was younger, she was raising me. She's like, no watching anything like that. Those are scary. Knives are scary. You don't watch scary things. So I hated it. And then at one point when I was a kid, I ended up sneaking, I think like on MTV or whatever, they played Child's Play. And I watched Child's Play and it scared the shit out of me. So I hated toys. And I hated horror. I thought it was so stupid and awful. And when I was a senior in high school, I joined a film class. And one of the things that we talked about was horror. And I was elected as the director of the short film we had to make. And everybody in that one wanted to do a horror film. And I was like, I don't know really how to do that. I've never really watched any of them. I shouldn't be directing this. But they didn't want to do it, so they just made me. And I was like, okay, well, I could essentially DP for the film anyway. So as long as you guys have your script already done, I'll just direct for the script. And I started watching Friday the 13th movies on AMC because I was like, I'll just get a feel for it.
Yeah.
And watching those 80s slashers again, like as a teenager,
yeah.
was significantly less frightening. I got a feel for how slasher films work, and I really enjoyed it. So we directed the film. We made a nice slasher film, and it was really fun. It was really cool, and I started really getting into horror. Throughout college, the grocery store I always used to go shopping at would have like a half-price book, so I'd be able to buy horror movies for like 99 cents. And I just kept buying horror DVDs and watching horror movies. I started consuming it like in a huge, like long form. Just like every single thing that came out recently or in the past, in the 80s. And I've really started loving, like, especially slashers. Cheesy horror films were like, my shit, man. Tales from the Crypt, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's my shit. And I absolutely dug it. So I started, like, really loving horror, and, like, that kind of inspired doing a lot of stuff on the channel. Like, a lot of the stuff that I write, because on my channel is not always, like, stuff I write. The channel is more about, like, promoting other people. But I'm doing that for so long, I can't help but write some also of my own. And everything I write is always cheesy. It's always slashery. It's always, like, characters are created to become fodder to die.
Yeah.
More than I really want to just tell the story about somebody. Or there's always, vampires and werewolves and things that, like, they're not really scary things. I wouldn't expect, Stephen King's next novel to feature a werewolf. But I still think that they're still interesting and they're a lot of fun to play around with. People can get killed by werewolves. It's still fun.
Yeah.
So, no, that's the horror came into my life. And creepypasta is essentially just an extension from that. It's just an online internet horror, man.
Who would you say has had the biggest impact on you as an artist?
No, you say the word, like, artist as if, like, I do something, like, artistically.
Well, here's the thing. We can have this whole discussion of is blank art, but writing, these creative things that you do, they are art.
I mean, Yeah, I suppose. No, yeah, no, I feel you.
I'm not trying. I'm not trying to be especially high-minded about it, or anything like that.
But I don't know. Honestly, like I wouldn't say there's like one specific person. What I usually get, I just told you the whole thing about horror.
Yeah.
What really inspires me, and most of the stuff I do, is film. There's a lot of things that come from like a lot of the things that I've written. I think like the most popular thing I probably wrote on my channel is stuff dealing with Five Nights at Freddy's. Back when Five Nights at Freddy's was like the hot shit. And I wrote all these audio dramas about Five Nights at Freddy's that fell in line with the lore that was around the games.
Yeah.
So essentially, we just took like these different sections of the lore that we knew of to be true, and then we created like this dramatic audio drama that fits in with that felt like they were small recordings that could have been picked up from other places.
Yeah.
And a lot of those things were all just inspired by old radio, because when I was in college, I was super into old radio.
Yeah.
So detective shows, specifically like ones like Box 13 and Let George Do It, are some of like my favorite old radio shows that I've ever heard. They're all detective shows. But learning how to be able to use sounds in specific areas, using music in specific areas, and especially, and I think like a lot of people don't get this, but using silence in certain areas where you're kind of just waiting for the next thing to happen, or waiting for the next sound effect, or kind of doing something like that. Silence is really powerful. And a lot of like narrators and audiobooks and things like that never really use silence, because it seems like whenever nothing's happening, nothing exciting is happening, that's for like, we're kind of bored. But using silence and using tension is so good. And then film is one of the major things that always inspires me. I'll still watch horror movies today that come out today, and there's so much to still take from them or learn from them about how horror is done. And horror is really complex. Like it's like comedy. Comedy is actually very hard to do, because not everybody laughs at everything.
Right.
And creating what exactly is the structure of a joke, what exactly is the structure of making people laugh, what exactly is the structure of making people happy or chuckle or deep belly laugh, and things like that are all very different from each other, and it deals in the psychology in a different way. Horror does the same thing. Like, we could always say, like, jump scaring somebody with a fake out scare, you know. We're having one conversation, all of a sudden there's a loud noise, somebody bangs against the door. I mean, it's startling, and that's a form of being scary, but you can't use that all the time.
Right.
And then there's ways of being gross. We could show you things you don't want to see, which is also something of being scared. You can't do that all the time either. And getting into things like that and learning from how the way that film is able to use all of those things together to create multiple different forms of fear over the span of its own story those are the major things that inspire me. There's not a one specific person, right? I couldn't say like, oh yeah, H.P. Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft was great. Stephen King, he's pretty good.
Even though Lovecraft was racist.
He was very racist. Oh my goodness, he was in. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like,
no, that was the thing. I've recently been reading a lot of. I mean, like, you can obviously tell in his writing he's very racist, but like just looking at his personal life. Recently, I've been looking like more into the stuff about H.P. Lovecraft's personal life, and I'm just like, oh my God, he was very racist.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, his ideas for telling stories were great.
Yeah.
Telling stories where there's obviously something else, something probably more interesting than what I'm reading about, exists in this world is amazing, and it was great at keeping me enthralled to see if I could learn more about something else through this character who's telling me a story. However, very racist.
Yeah. The real monster was H.P.
Yeah. But yeah, no. I mean, like, they're all still. You can always learn something from somebody. Is
right.
The kind of thing. Learning from his writing style and his storytelling is good, but learning from him as a person, I would never try to say no.
Yeah, it's that whole separating the art
from the artist.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
What is the most challenging thing for you as a creator of content?
See, you said you weren't going to ask me any kind of questions everybody else asks me. Now you're getting into these.
Just a little bit, because what challenges you is a little bit different, because it's not like, okay, you know.
What's the hardest thing?
Yeah.
Which one was the hardest video? No,
yeah.
I get you. I mean, so whenever you work with one specific thing for so long, it's kind of hard to stay with it all the time. I mean, I asked you this before we started doing this. I was saying, like, how do you stay motivated doing your podcast, right?
Right.
Because, like, I'd imagine that after a while, you kind of like, oh yeah, this is this has got to be, like we've been talking about nerd stuff for so long. I've been going on this for so long. It's been so many years. I would imagine like eventually you're kind of like, oh, let's try something else. Let's talk about something else. You guys want to play Dungeons and Dragons in a podcast or something? Like something like that.
Right.
That's really honestly where a lot of the struggle comes from for me. Is I love horror and I love doing horror stuff. Every once in a while, I'm kind of like, let's try mixing it up. Let's do sci-fi. Let's do superheroes. Let's do something else. That's where, like I said, like with Gold Rush, right? Like it's hard for me to break out of horror. Everything always comes back to it because that's what I've worked in and what I know. So we were like, yeah, let's try doing a sci-fi story. And in this sci-fi story, the entire planet starts being consumed by a liquid dog. And, this was a series on the channel. There's two different stories taking place. One is a young man, and he is existing in this dog world. That's the entire planet's been consumed by the dog, and they walk on the dog flesh, and the trees grow fetus dogs that they have to pick and eat, and they have to try to make fire, and the insects on it have mutated into these giant ticks and swarms of fleas and things like that. And on the other side, it's the dad who is no longer with the young man, but is with him when he's a child, who is trying to survive as the flesh is taking over the planet. So we're like, let's get into this kind of thing. Let's see how sci-fi we can get. And the more we develop the world, the more we're like, all right, this is just getting horror now. Like, yeah, it's just people getting eaten by the flesh, and they become these monstrosities that kind of walk the earth, and an amalgamation of dog DNA and human DNA that can't be assimilated into the planet, so they have to be spewed out as these monsters. And there's cannibals and things like that on the planet who it's too dangerous to eat the dog flesh, so they take it to eating people they can find. And it's like, yeah, okay, we're getting a little bit in the horror territory, and just keeps going deeper and deeper down that rabbit hole every single time. But honestly, it helps keep things fresh every time that we want to get a new idea. We did superheroes for a while too. Originally, we did like these audio dramas that were Batman and Superman and The Question with the Joker, and then we were like, we should do like originals to see what other ones we can get. And we came up with like this skinless experiment superhero who he's skinless, but his like muscles become hardened, and he's like this freak of nature kind of character who has this drive to eat human flesh. It goes back into horror once again. He's got these like hooks that are like built into his arms, and he was experimented on. So he has these hooks that he would tear people apart with and supervillains apart with. It was really strange.
But like Ghoul Wolverine or something.
Yeah, no, it was actually really, because he keeps struggling with like these programmed thoughts inside of him, and then trying to like reconnect with his own humanity that he used to have and things like that. It was really cool, but it was very much like let's do something different. It's the same thing. All roads lead back to Rome, man, and it's that's really hard. Is eventually you start to run out of steam. But working on new things, like let's try to get weird. Yesterday I was talking about writing, like how to be able to be a writer or be career authors and stuff like that. And one of the questions that kind of came up was like, what do you do whenever you run into writer's block? And writer's block is definitely like a really kind of difficult thing. I'm pretty sure like if you've been working on any kind of projects or anything, you always hit a roadblock because you have a train of thought, and you keep wanting to move down that same path. And as soon as your ideas run out on that path you're on, then you are still on that track. Like, I don't want to deviate from this.
Right.
I have something in mind. I don't want to deviate. So your mind gets stuck in this repeated loop of like, well, I want to do this, but that's not right, and that's not right, and that's not right. And everything just keeps getting stuck with wrong, 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 so you don't know what to do next. And the answer I had is like, if you're stuck, if you're locked in on something, the main way to just break yourself around that writer's block is to get weird. And I was like, just straight up let yourself get weird. Open up something new and just start writing the first thing that comes to your mind. Doesn't have to make sense. Doesn't have to be something like, and I was saying like, like if you're writing a vampire story about something, these are all vampires. There's rules we all know of that vampires can and can't do. And let's just get weird. So instead, like, let's write a vampire story, and they're vampires, but they're vampires that are lost in the jungle and they have nothing else to eat. So one of them bites into a gorilla, and the gorilla immediately becomes sentient, and he becomes infected with the curse of the vampire, who now has to struggle with, is he like everyone else? Is he part of the animal kingdom or the human kingdom? Just get weird with it. And all of a sudden, you kind of realize there's more avenues that are available to you than you were originally thinking. Like, things can't be wrong if I say that nothing's wrong.
Right.
And that helps you get around what the writer's block is. And I found that kind of helps with, like, whenever I'm running out of steam on horror, like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to come up with another killer clown. I don't want to come up with something else like this. Let me try doing something else. And everything kind of just comes back to horror anyway for me. So, like, yeah, I don't want to do with horror. I want to make a cowboy card game. Cowboy card game about shooting your friends and trading around gold nuggets and stuff like that. Cool. And the town just sometimes isn't there. And then, there's a sheriff who's wanted because he sometimes steals blood from people in the town. Yeah. And then, like, okay, cool. We're getting a little bit back into horror, but that's okay. Just everything always starts leading back over there. And it seems fresh to me now. And I have a lot more motivation to want to work on it because it is fresh. It's not horror, but it is horror.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
we touched on it a little bit in places, but I kind of want to go a little deeper. What's some of the stuff that you're passionate about outside of horror?
Superheroes. Totally.
Who's your favorite?
Oh, Superman. Hang on. I'm going to show you this. Everybody, you can't see it. But I literally got this one.
That is really cool.
Thanks. It's the barcoded Superman symbol, or Superboy has that on the cover of Teen Titans #1 when they relaunched the New 52. And this one is the exact same one. Like, one of my friends did this for me, like, as a Christmas gift. He really did it for me. And this is taken from the cover, just made larger, and then he just put it on there. So it's the exact same barcode that Connor has in Teen Titans #1. I really dig comic books. I dig superheroes. I'm a big fan of, like, all the Marvel movies and DC movies that have been coming out and everything. So, like, Superman has always been my favorite.
Yeah.
Just because, like, there's that certain level of, like, purity to everything he does is inspiring towards other people. Everything he does is in an attempt to just be the best person he can. And I always really, like, respect and love that. I know, like, people hate that, too. It's like, yeah, like, Batman always does things, but he goes about the wrong way to do it, and it's so much cooler. And it's like, yeah, but, like, he didn't have to. He could have done it just the right way. He doesn't have to hide in the shadows. It doesn't have to be edgy. And I always like that. Like, not necessarily being, like, the, like, edgy, cool thing, but just being somebody that, like, being the person that everybody could say, like, that is that beacon of hope. Things are better. Things can be better. People can be better. I always like that kind of idea. So Superman's my favorite, man.
What's your favorite Superman movie?
That's hard. They're not good.
No, they're not. They're really not.
There's a... Oh, God. I don't know. I guess... I liked the way the Superman was done. I didn't like Justice League.
Yeah.
But I like the way Superman was done in Justice League a lot more than I have any other movie he's been in. Because, like, he laughs. Which is, a little bit, like... That seems super strange, right? I liked Christopher Reeve in the very first Superman movie. And if it just didn't end with him going back in time to save everybody...
Yeah.
I thought that would be so much better. If he could have, like, gone up into space because he didn't know how to handle any of his problems and absorb more sunlight and... did everything because he's Superman and he can.
Yeah.
I would have liked that more than him just turning back the Earth.
Yeah, it's a much more interesting story.
Yeah, it would have been great. I keep thinking, like, I would love for, like, Telltale to do, like, a Superman story in a game because I think they could do it really well. That would be the best way to deal with Superman's powers because, like, giving a player full range to do everything makes it really hard to control what they can do. Doing it in a Telltale would be great. But, I mean, like, in Justice League... The fact that he was... I mean, like, he came back from the dead and he was like, fuck you guys, like, that kind of thing. But that was still really cool. The Flash is running at him and he's, like, still moves his head fast enough to keep up with the Flash. And when he's there actually with them, he interacts with them, he tells jokes to them, he's consistently smiling and laughing. And I felt more like that was, like, the Superman that I'd like to see. As well as, like, the Justice League kind of... They didn't absolutely need him there to do everything.
Right.
But they felt like they needed him there to feel like they could do it. And that's that whole beacon of hope thing that I really enjoyed about the character, and I liked that element in the Justice League movie, which was like, we don't, obviously, like, Wonder Woman could have been able to pull the mother box apart, could have done everything, right? She still is just as invincible as he is, but at the same time, like, they felt like they needed somebody there to help them be together, and that was cool. Right. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't like any of them.
I'm going to make this, I'm going to be terribly self-involved for a moment.
Okay,
because this is one of my hobby horses.
No, please.
I think Superman 3 might be the greatest movie ever made.
The one with,
the one with Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor.
And the reason is, like, the 10 minutes where you've got drunk Superman is the best. It's the best.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
you got Superman getting drunk, messing up bottles at the bar, straightening out the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's implied that he sleeps with one of the bad guys. And then, as if things weren't just crazy enough, he fights Clark Kent in a junkyard for some reason.
I could see. No, it has some really good moments. Superman 3 felt more like the Silver Age Superman kind of comics, where, I mean, we are aware that he has like an unlimited amount of power. He has as much as he needs, but in the Silver Age, they went a little wild, like with what he can do and what he's able to do and stuff like that, and just that felt more like a Silver Age kind of story of like, oh yeah, we'll create as many as we need. We can recreate Superman, create drunk Superman. Let's make him just do random things around the world, and they'll be okay by episode 2. It just undoes it. Just imagine like he fixes it later.
Well, yeah, it's like a lot of those misleading comic book covers from around that era.
The Superman is a dick
covers?
Yeah,
Superman is a dick, exactly.
I've always loved those ones where you just see like the perfect murder. He's like detaching Lois Lane in space.
Yeah.
Why is she there?
Or he's like, destroying Jimmy Olsen's Christmas gift.
She's just standing there in the desert holding up the last glass of water, and like people are around him begging him for water. No. It was so great. Those are the classics, man. Oh my god. That character has so much like range to do weird shit. That's always like what was it? The classic bad Superman characters too that I've always loved to see. Just the always like the ultimate DC thing they always go with was like, well, you have like the strongest hero, but what if he was bad? That's like they did for Injustice, and Injustice 2 was just always like, yeah, Emperor Superman on this earth. The Justice Lords in the Justice League cartoon, Emperor Superman. What if Emperor Superman kick over the earth in this one? And like they did that in the Silver Age like 28 times. Like Emperor Superman takes over. Seems to be like DC's big go-to kind of thing. It's like the big bad guy. Bizarro is the exact same thing, except he's dumb enough to be a good guy sometimes.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite cliches with that. Or like the Death of Superman, the freaking the one character that could be able to beat him, the Hulk. Essentially what they did. Doomsday is just the Hulk. Yeah. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Oh man.
I ran out of steam. That's what it was.
I completely, like Superman 3 just
derailed the whole thing into a Superman conversation now.
Yeah.
I'm down for that. I like Superman. I'm glad the new Superman's dead, too. I'll say that. The Superman from New 52?
Yeah.
The young guy that they had when they relaunched it and all that. I'm glad he's dead. Glad.
On the record.
I'm on the record. I'm saying glad he's dead. Because, like, I felt like they really went... Like, I don't know. Do you read the New 52 comics at all now?
I used to be really big into, like, the Jim Lee X-Men and stuff. And at some point, I became broke as hell and couldn't keep up anymore. I think it was somewhere around like the Phalanx saga. I started to really just
fall off on it.
Yeah, like I couldn't afford or keep up with buying X-Force number 272. And...
See, I could never really get into the X-Men. The X-Men was really hard for me to get into because there were so many.
Right.
There were so many people with powers that it was so hard for me to be like, oh, that's right, that's what he can do, and oh, they brought in this guy can do that. And, okay, well, this calls for this person who they talked about 150 issues ago.
Yeah.
He could have done that. Now, I don't know, is he dead now? He might have came back. I don't know, that kind of thing. The X-Men was really hard for me to get into. It was like those, and I think they rebooted the X-Men too. They brought back the X-Men from the 90s into the recent universe of Marvel now. Time travel? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the problem with me trying to get into X-Men conversations is I can't remember. There's so much that happens in the X-Men now that I don't know. I don't remember what happens.
And you've got X-Men 2099. And,
oh my god.
Yeah, I remember when 2099 was the big thing.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man 2099 was the only one I ever used to read.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do. The universes are weird, especially Marvel with their all universes exist at the same time over each other, so they could overlap at any given time we want to. I used to read the Fantastic Four a lot, and then it got confusing as hell because 6 Reed Richards exist at the same time and sometimes talk to each other. I don't know which one is which now.
What are some of the societal issues that really resonate with you?
That's a hard question.
That's why I had to think about it for a minute. How am I gonna ask this?
Societal issues that really resonate with me. Okay. I'm gonna try to keep it related to the topic, to the channel and YouTube and MrCreepyPasta and stuff like that. So on YouTube in general, the main audience are teenagers, kids.
Yeah.
Especially kids that want to. I mean, YouTube is so large. You got kids of all ages. Kids love video games. Kids love, comedy and fail videos, cat videos, do whatever. But especially the people I talk to a lot of the time, one of the big things are that these are usually goth kids. These are anime kids.
Yeah.
Kids that love horror and things like that. And one of the things that I've noticed they kind of have a problem with is social anxieties.
Yeah.
Trying to feel like they fit in with other people. Because it's strange, right? You want to talk about the size of my channel in comparison to any gaming channel, a big gaming channel. It's dwarf the size of this. Even our community and towards gaming or towards everything else is very small, and that same ratio kind of translates over to most of the populace. The people that are into horror, the people that are oh yes, I love blood and guts and dead things and serial killers, stuff like that, right? The people that want to stay at home and watch forensics files about the wife that comes back and kills her husband. That it's a really interesting community of people, and they always kind of have this kind of feeling they don't really fit in, and it's really hard for them to be able to try to be able to find friends that they can relate to,
right?
And they kind of deal a lot with bullying, cyberbullying, and real life, everything in that sense. Those are the kind of things that I kind of really want to be more involved in. Right. You have a place, there's communities and apps and forums and things like that usually we've started up that have been hey, these are places where all you guys can meet and hang out and talk and have fun together. Because you guys that write stories, you guys that create artwork and all this other stuff that doesn't really fit in with the other circles that you're around you right now, there's another place you can go to, which is these kind of places that we have where you can do that. And you don't have to feel like you're an outsider who's trying to change what you're into or change yourself to be able to fit in somewhere else where you're not really that interested in what's going on. And that's what I've been trying to do, at least on that front, is try to give kids a place where they feel yeah, here's things I'm into, and there's other people there like that, so I don't feel like I'm by myself, and I don't feel like I'm alone. That's I guess that's, I don't know if that's actually answering your question.
No,
that's
okay.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Because that's the really big thing. I know you asked me before about the thing. That's what also BetterHelp was. They offered me this kind of deal. They're hey, we want to try to do one video together and see if we could do something. And I was I'd really like to just be a part of that as long as I can be.
Yeah.
Because especially I know mental health issues are a big problem right now. And I mean, not even right now. They always have been. It's just becoming more prominent right now.
Yeah,
We're able to see
it's becoming more visible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot more visible. And getting help for that is not only it's not difficult to find help for something like that, but it's difficult to be able to afford it, for one.
Yes.
And it's difficult to be able to, I mean, especially when you're in it.
Yeah.
It's really kind of hard to give yourself the motivation to want to go find help. It's really hard to, it gives you a lot of anxiety to feel there's something wrong with me and I need to find somebody who's professional who can help me because I mean, at least, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I feel like a lot of people don't want to kind of admit that there's something wrong with them in that capacity.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want something to be wrong with me like that. So I don't want to have to go find somebody who can be able to help me with something like this because then that's admitting to myself that I know there's something wrong. And that's hard.
Yeah.
And BetterHelp was this website, and it's just BetterHelp.com. And what it is it is being able to find you affordable help where you can be able to contact somebody over your phone, to be able to talk on the phone, to text with, or using their own chat system. And they're all professional, so you can be able to talk to you. And it's all at 30% of what you'd usually pay to talk to somebody in person. And whenever you're having these kind of mental health issues, it's also it gives you a lot of anxiety going off to an office. It's a place you're not comfortable with. It's a place you haven't been to. This is a way to give you kind of a helping hand to get started with this. You could be in your own home, in your own space where you feel the most safe. You can be able to talk to somebody who can advise you with how to deal with your issues and move you towards talking to somebody in person and be able to actually aid you with your mental health, aid you with anxiety and depression and things like that. And that's another thing. Even outside of BetterHelp, there's a lot of people, like I said, it's hard to be able to afford something like that. And professionals know that today. And can usually offer you a sliding scale of what if you don't have the insurance that covers this, here's what I can offer you. And this is the kind of help we can give you so you can find a system that you can afford to be able to do that one. So BetterHelp gives you a leg up, gets you started so that you can be able to find somebody that you can afford, you can talk to, and actually get the help that you need. Because the help is out there, it's just really hard to get yourself to be in the position where you're willing to go and you're willing to be able to get started.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. That is certainly a societal issue that I am trying to be able to support as best I can in getting that repaired, getting that fixed, or moving towards a better part of society. I don't know if I dove a little bit too deep there for you.
We could go way into that. But and I know it's about that time where you have to mosey and hit the old dusty trail. But Notorious MCP.
Oh,
it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure talking to you and being able to talk to you both on the record, off the record. You're really cool guys. So thank you so much for interviewing me and letting me be on your show and everything.
No problem. Thanks.